All right, welcome, Moon Sister Rising webinar. I'm so excited. So tonight, our objective is to really get to know Kate and Christa a little bit more. I have the privilege of working with Christa since May, actually, working as your coach, and it's such an honor. And so I wanted to have this conversation because you're so amazing and what you're up to is really inspiring. And I thought people could learn from you as you're creating this incredible festival. And I think the timing is great for two reasons. One, the festival is a month away. But on the other hand, there's so much learning, as you ladies said already, from creating. Neither of you have created a festival before. And I think it's really cool to have a conversation in the moment rather than just in hindsight. That way, I think, I don't know, it's part of the journey. You know, the journey is the destination and you're on it right now and you're creating something that was just an idea. So we're going to be talking a little bit about how that idea has become a reality and continues to grow. And as I mentioned before, some people are going to be hopping on, so you might hear a little ding here and there, and that just means people are coming in. And Jamie, we've never met before, but I'm Melissa, and as I told you, I'm based in Canada. I'm a life coach, and my goal is to help people bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to go. And that's one of the things I love to do the most is working with people like Christa who have these incredible projects and goals, and I get to be a part of that journey and support them through it. And we touch on all things: business, lifestyle, relationships, well-being, all these things, movement. So life is this big game that we all play, and that's what I'm up to, is helping people play their best game. So to get us just kind of really connected, I like to get us grounded. Some of you might be coming from meetings with your festival creators or from work or whatnot. And if you're listening to the recording, it's just an opportunity for you to really get present and connect to your breath and your body. Unless you're driving, don't close your eyes. But otherwise, let's take a moment to just really get comfortable. You're rooting your feet down into the ground if they're touching, and if you're sitting cross-legged, then just feel your sit bones really melt down into your seat. And then gently close your eyelids. And let your hands rest wherever it feels right. Perhaps on your lap. Or maybe you want to connect to your body in a different way. You might bring your hands to your belly or to your heart. And just take the first couple of moments to breathe and notice what your breath is like in this moment, on this Monday evening. Just getting curious about the rhythm of your breath. As they say, where attention goes, energy flows. So as you bring your attention to your breath, you might notice it shift. It might get a little deeper, maybe a little longer, perhaps a little more fulfilling and energizing. Or maybe it doesn't change at all, and that's okay too. And take a deep breath in, a little deeper than your previous inhale, trying to fill up your lungs as much as possible, really breathing on purpose here. And let out a big sigh. Letting go of all stale energy from your day. Let's do that 2 more times. Taking a deep breath in, filling up. And sigh it out, let it go. One more time, inhale. And exhale, let it go. And keep breathing deeply, and just take a moment to set an intention for how you want to show up tonight. Or even if you're just listening to the recording, set an intention to be fully here. And perhaps there's something you're here to get or to receive or to share. Connect to that. My intention tonight is to create the space for a powerful conversation, for inspiration, fun, and connection. And with that, let's take one more breath together, inhaling deeply. And exhale slowly. You can gently open your eyes. Always makes a difference. Your girl's feeling good?
Feeling grounded.
Feeling grounded. Well, it's a great place to start because we're going to be talking about Moon Sister Rising. So we're, from a place of grounding, we're going to rise.
I like
and, Christa, I want to start with you. You know, you're the reason why we're here tonight. And like I said, you and I have started work. We've known each other for a few months now. And I immediately connected with your vibe when you emailed me. And I had looked you up, saw your Instagram. I was like, this girl's got really good vibes, and I'm all about good vibes. And when we started working together, the goal was to transition from your full-time job to your coaching, yoga, and lifestyle business. And that happened quite quickly. And through
pretty much our first session even actually officially started.
So I was like, all right, that's taken care of. And then through our conversations, you talked about, oh, maybe I'd like to do a launch about, you know, what I'm up to, let people know about the business I'm creating. And as we dug into this festival naturally came out of you. So I want you to share a little bit about your story before you and I came together, but you know, what's got you to where you're at today and where you're going.
Yeah, definitely. So I have always been a very large dreamer and incredibly spiritual, having a power in just something greater. And I always really believed in the importance of living your dream life and truly enjoying and living alive. When I graduated college, I was working in Manhattan, and I went through probably 7 different careers, ranging from a hairstylist to the commercial real estate world. And I just couldn't find why every single job I was so unhappy and so miserable. And I just, would not settle for being unhappy. So I would go from job to job to job. There were times when I was living off of dollar pizza and living in an apartment that had a molding piano and urinal in the hallway as you would walk up the stairs. So I kind of really just focused on meditation and found yoga and committed to really creating a life I would love. Around the time that I had met you, I had left the city and was working from home. So I definitely had already taken a lot of steps where the quality of my life had greatly, greatly improved. And when I actually met you, I was, I found you on a Wanderlust talk that you had done, and I just instantly was connected to your into your video that you had shared. And I was actually on an 8-hour drive to a wedding in, I forget where, maybe North Carolina or something, but it was probably the first nice day in New Jersey, and I was like stuck in air conditioned in a car, and I was like, oh, let me email this girl. So that's where that came from. But when I met you, like you said, we set that intention that I was really ready to just leave the corporate world and working for someone else behind. And I really just wanted to follow my passion and live a life where every day I felt like I was not wasting my time and really truly using my talents and loving every day in a way that had purpose and a lot of meaning and love to it. So I know we were playing, a money game and about how I was going to welcome all this new money into my life so I could leave my corporate job. And I woke up the morning after that we talked about that, and I sat down and I prayed and said, how can I create this space for this, money to come into my life? And and not even an hour later, I got a phone call and I was let go from my job. And I sat there for a moment and I was just like in shock. And then I got up, I put on my favorite song, and I started dancing around, just jumping for joy that, my biggest gift had finally been answered. And then it was kind of like flying in midair with, either you sink or you fly. Nowhere to go, no idea what was coming. Just, I knew I was finally free. And as we were talking, we were talking about, kind of doing an event. And I went to, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Soul Camp. It's basically this, I haven't been to Soul Camp, but it's basically this amazing weekend that adults go to. And it's like, anything you could possibly imagine, like a camp for adults. And plus like a whole, what seems to be like Wanderlust mixed in. So they were actually putting on an event in the city, and I went to it, and we did what was called Intensanti. And it was basically this movement where you were screaming like, I am amazing, and all these different affirmations as you're like shaking it down and feeling like totally uncomfortable, kind of looking around like, holy shit, do I look like an ass right now? And so I was definitely feeling that way. But I just remember that after the fact, being put in something that made me feel so uncomfortable and so out of my box, and that's something that really asked me to show up and to say yes to screaming out, I am brave, or to screaming out something that made me feel uncomfortable, woke something up inside of me. And it kind of shed those layers, and I was just vibrating for days. I was so happy. I felt so much like I could speak like my authentic voice, and so empowered and confident. And it was something that sparked something inside of me. And I just had this feeling that I wanted to share this type of experience with other people, and help them to kind of wake up and get the same empowerment. And so you had shared also a book with me called Rise, Sister, Rise. And I sat down to read the book, and the book really was the main inspiration, along with this event that I went to for Moon Sister Rising. And she talks about in Rise, Sister, Rise how in 2012 the Mayan calendar was coming to an end, and that in 2013 basically all of these people were starting to wake up and put the planet, basically back into balance. And that, they talk about how like in 2012, up to 2012, it was like witches. People couldn't come out and spiritually wake up. They couldn't, worship the moon and really talk about, rising their feminine energy and their Shakti power. And this is actually something at the time, and still I've been working on, a lot of Kundalini and tapping into my feminine energy. We have so much power that we hold within our bodies, and it's really tapping in and waking all of that up. And the things that we can create, magic is real. We really can do that. So between this festival, or between the book Rise, Sister, Rise and Intensanti, I know we were speaking, and then you kind of kicked my butt into gear and we're like, let's do this. And from what went to this vision that felt at the time so small and just like far away, came into, more than reality, and has been such an incredible journey of planning.
It's been so fun to watch, and this, what you're creating is one of my favorite things to do with people, because it's an idea to something way cooler than you even thought was possible. And I remember the day you talked to me about it, and it was just like, yeah, just kind of this. But then all of a sudden it was coming out of you so naturally. But I think one of my favorite parts, we got to talk about the alpacas. So, and then I want to talk about you and Kate. But tell us a little bit about the farm where the event is happening and how that came to be. Because I think that's really interesting too, because that's a place you were connected with or connected to before even creating this event. And then the synchronicities with dates, location, and all of that. And then there's alpacas. I think there's just so many cool things about that. So I want you to talk a little bit about where the festival is happening and why you chose that location.
Yeah, so the festival's in Wall, New Jersey, on the most magical alpaca farm I've ever seen in my life. the reason that I knew this existed is because I had stalked it out for so long because I wanted to get married there. I'm not engaged, just, always with kind of putting that manifestation into gear, I guess. But but then, you said, it's like stepping up, and I'm not marrying that someone else. I'm marrying, to myself, my vision, my business.
Mm.
But going there for the first time, walking in and seeing the alpacas, it's just the most peaceful and powerful energy that they give off. And they're so wonderful, and getting to like actually give one of them a hug was life changing.
Mm.
And it's just the most gorgeous, gorgeous rustic barn with these beautiful chandeliers, and then just of so much beautiful greenery with all this natural light. And it's just really a magical looking place. And definitely, I mean, once I saw that and it was available, it was just like, this was all so meant to be, and there's not anywhere else in the world I could imagine having this event.
And wasn't it that because the full moon is on is it the 24th of September? Is that right?
Yep.
So we were looking at dates for it to align with the full moon, but at the same time, doing a festival on a Monday isn't necessarily conducive. So it was close enough. But I remember you saying that at the farm, like the 22nd was one of their only dates left in September.
Yeah, so that was one of the only days left in September. And then the other amazing part is that, when I met Kate, it was exactly 1 year ago from the day that this festival was. And I always really try to live my life based on like a spark of intuition. Like I said, when I met you, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was just a spark. I just knew it. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And it turned out to be exactly what I wanted and a million times more. So yeah, it's exactly a year from the day that I had met Kate for the first time. And that really was, it's not like we had a long friendship afterwards. I kind of met her on that one day, and then we hadn't seen each other after. But yeah, so there was just a lot of alignment with the space, and yeah, it's just.
I know I had you girls share with me how you know each other, but Jamie wasn't on. And for those who are going to be listening to the recording, talk to me a little bit about this relationship you have with Kate. And then Kate, I'd love to hear from you about, your journey and what you'll be doing at the festival, and how you're collaborating with Christa. So maybe Christa, take it away, and then we'll lead into Kate.
So the day that I actually met Kate was teaching at the local mala, and I arrived home, I think, on a red eye, or I'm not exactly sure, maybe not a red eye, but I got back at like 5:30 in the morning from Hawaii, and I was already in this very in tune and aligned state, glowing from this trip, because Hawaii, I think, is just also a very spiritual place that can really help to connect you with something deeper. So I went straight from the airport to teach at this mala, and Kate, who has her business Sunshine Cates, and she was selling her yoni eggs and talking all about womb wellness and the steams that you can get. And I went up to her tent as I was waiting to go on and teach, and was just instantly connected, like that spark. She just has this amazing smile and kind of wild hair similar to mine in a lot of ways. And I was just like obsessed. Hey, Kate. I was literally, I think I had like a major girl crush on her, and was just like, I need to learn more. She has her own business. She's like so into wellness, and the yoni egg sounds so cool. What the heck is that? So it was pretty magical. I met her that one day, and then, I just like asked her 1,000 questions and walked away like shyly. And then I don't even know how long ago, maybe like 6 months later, I randomly reached out to her and was like, hey, I met you at this mala one day, like 6 months ago. I came up, said hi, asked you about your yoni eggs, and I'd love to interview you for a podcast. Please don't think I'm a creep, but I just think you're really awesome. So I reached out, and we were trying to connect over a podcast for a really long time. And then when everything was starting to happen with the festival, we had been connecting back and forth, trying to find a date for our podcast, which to this date we still need to do. But Kate was in Mexico at the time, and I'm sure she'll tell you more about that. But she came home incredibly inspired and was talking about all these ways that she was excited and wanted to collaborate. And when I was telling her about the festival, it just really, alignment kicked in again. And it was like us meeting, that 6 months earlier, or however long it was at that time, was kind of part of a larger plan that has brought us to where we are now.
Mm. Okay, do you remember meeting Christa?
I do. And I felt the same way when she had emailed. I think it was in March. She had reached out about doing the podcast, and I was so excited, and I was so honored and flattered. And when she came into my office, it was just, when you just have that connection with other people and you're so inspired by each other. You just know there's magic waiting to be unveiled. But it was funny because it was so blocked, we just couldn't match up our days when we were actually going to do the podcast. Maybe after the fest we'll do one.
Definitely.
And so tell us a little bit about, okay, we're going to talk about the yoni eggs for sure, but let's talk about you first, and a little bit about your story and who you are, and now you're taking part in this festival and your role in all of that.
Sure. So very much like Christa, I've lived life trusting my intuition and going on gut feelings. A couple of things I knew for sure. I always wanted to travel as much as possible. And I wanted to live a life full of radiance and wellness. I actually wanted to become a travel agent when I was graduating high school, but my mom and I had a nice heart-to-heart. And she said, get a degree and then make travel your passion. And that's pretty much what I've done. Just the long and short of it, I lived out west for a while and studied nutrition and really envisioned myself doing something big, connecting wellness and women's health. And I went through a lot of hormonal struggles in my 20s. And was really, really disconnected from my body. And it took a long time to come back. And this is pretty much describing 15 years in, a 1-minute description where it took yoga and food and nourishment. And one step led to the next of finding different modalities that really called to me in bringing myself back into my body and trusting my own cycles. And through all of that, inspired me to open up a wellness practice. And so I have a practice in New Jersey now where I do education around yoni eggs. I do sex coaching as well with emotional and sexual trauma. And then I also offer the yoni steams, which are a beautiful way of connecting herbs back into the body. And so much of my belief in life is that if we can connect deeper and on an emotional and energetic level, our physical body is radiant and healthy, but it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of community building with that. And that's where with Christa, it's been such an inspiration to connect because she's so connected to her intuition through yoga and through her vision of what she wants to bring into the world. It's really inspiring to find women that we can collaborate with locally and globally and support each other and kind of leaping into the big vision with the festival. It's exactly that, not just for women, but for men too, to show up exactly as we are, because it's not always this place of radiance and trust, but a lot of times it's, kind of going through all the emotions. And then from that, trusting in we'll meet the people that we're meant to meet and learn from them and teach them and share. And it's just been this really lovely and easy collaboration and putting our vision together and finding different vendors that we believe in and we love what they're doing in the world, and different cafes and restaurants that are bringing their gifts to the world. And so it's been, I think the festival is really a representation of how we can all shine our lights together and support each other. And I think we're just gonna be able to connect on such a deeper level that day and past that day too. And that's what Christa and I have talked about. We don't know, the connections that will extend out after that day and how people will find each other and the friendships and the support that will develop from there. So it's a lot. It's exciting though.
It is so exciting. There's a trust factor that you both have, about what you see as possible for this. And then seeing these sparks of what can happen after the fact, even though you'll only know once it happens, right? You're already planting so many seeds. And I think one of the things that's coming out in the conversation so far is, one, the journeys you were on leading up to it. It's not like this came out of nowhere. That's what it might look like when people show up. You're like, oh my gosh, these people just did this, like no big deal. But there's so much that has happened before this idea even was put down on paper. Both your individual journeys. Christa, you're talking about, your corporate life, having left the city, coming back to New Jersey, finding yoga and finding yourself and teaching and all the things that you've created before the festival, us working together, all these things that you led you to being ready to rise up yourself. And I remember us talking about the influence of the book Rise Sister Rise, and how the idea of supporting women. And then I'd love to have someone that talks about womb wellness. This was even before you had mentioned Kate, but this was before you two had talked about it. And so that idea of alignment and things flowing, I think that's a theme when people are really connected to something they're supposed to be doing. I often call it like the fine line between excitement and fear. It's really scary to just launch, but then it's really exciting once you do, and you're like dancing on this line this whole time, but then things start to open up for you that normally might be a struggle. Collaborating, finding the right spot, attracting vendors. And I think these things have been a flow, and you've been working really hard for it as well. It's not happening with you just sitting on your laurels. That's something, really got to acknowledge you for that. I want to hear a little bit about, the day. So it's happening September 22nd. Walk us through the vision of the day and what people can expect showing up at the festival.
Yeah. Or is this me or Kate?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I think that one of the most powerful things actually that we did together was when we walked through the pre-experience that people would have, the day itself and the post. So leading, into the day, I was really hoping to inspire people also to read Rise Sister Rise, just to get themselves ready and to kind of understand a little bit about, really waking and tapping into your intuition. The day itself, to me, is about, people showing up and beyond excited. I think we talked about, like, you wake up in the morning, like you don't even know if you could sleep the night before, and you wake up and you're so excited because you know that you're about to go to one of those events or festivals that's about to change your entire life. You know that you're showing up with all of your dreams and everything you've been working on, all of your hopes and maybe your shadows that you are with too, and that you're showing up and that you are about to kind of, in so many ways, put it out there on the table, open yourself up, and really make those shifts that are going to impact and change your life forever. So I would think, showing up to the festival, you're excited and you're also a little bit nervous because you have no idea what we're going to have you doing this day. And that you might be screaming out, "You are amazing," feeling crazy. But really showing up and feeling as you arrive this major sense of community and acceptance and excitement and just the most positive and high and uplifting vibration ever. The yoga class is really going to be about movement. So we are going to sweat. We are going to move, and it is open to all levels. You do not have to be an advanced yogi by any means. And the event, just I want to make it clear, it is open for men and women. I know it's called Moon Sister Rising, but we do all have feminine and masculine energy within us. And it's definitely always been in my vision, men and women. But so, we're going to move a lot in a practice that's really going to be putting you in a place where you kind of enter this euphoric state of bliss. It's much more of a meditative feel where there's so much energy throughout the community that you instantly really enter this euphoric state. And, as we're twisting, you're going into whatever has been weighing down on you and toxic in your life, and you are truly rinsing it out. You're cleansing it with a fire that is so internal, and, you are melting those kind of toxic things. And as you come out of that, you're getting bursts of clarity of what you're supposed to be doing, what the answer is. You're releasing, things that have been weighing on you maybe for days, months, years, the majority of your life. You're working on it that day. You're finding clarity. You're lifting that weight off, and you're just having the most incredible high during this practice. Um, and it's one of those, I always like to think, there's a few practices I've had in my life where, that feeling will stay with me forever. So I'm envisioning really this practice to be that for people. And then afterwards, we move into this gong bath meditation, which is going to be incredibly magical as you're just like melting into your mat, melting into the earth, and listening to this gong bath, which is going to take you somewhere completely else, maybe into a meditation deeper than you've ever explored or experienced in your life. And if it's something you haven't experienced in the past, I have to tell you that it is, you'll never question your faith again once you have one of these experiences, because they never leave you. And then after that, we're going to be really exploring a lot of the local artisans, the food vendors. There are so many amazing artisans and amazing food that's going to be there that day. So this is really going to be that time where people are just like vibrating so high from the practice they just had, walking around this greenery with hopefully the sun shining, and, connecting with so many new friends, because they are so open. You are so open now. And you're eating healthy food that makes you feel amazing. You're shopping, and you're shopping things that inspire you. They bring out that piece of you that really, inspires you to feel like your highest self. And after that, we're moving into Kate, which is going to be such an exciting talk. And I'm so excited to hear everything that Kate has to say, because I just think she has a wealth of knowledge on, womb wellness and your, female wellness. But I know, Kate, I believe you're going to be touching in on both men and women during your talk, and different breathing techniques. And I'll let Kate talk about that a little bit more, because I'm so excited. I don't know exactly what she has coming, but and then after that, we move into this crazy dance medicine piece, which I am not going to release the information, because I want you guys to all experience this for yourself. But I will tell you that the vision is that you are going to be experiencing similar to what I did with Intensanti, where you are going to feel out of your comfort zone. You're going to be looking around saying, shit, do I look crazy? I'm sorry for cursing. My mom once said, "Full curse." Or no, it was not my mother. My mom says she wants to wash my mouth out with a bar soap. And I sound like a truck driver. But you're going to be looking around like, oh my goodness, do I look silly? But at the same time, you're going to go into this place where, the layers are ripping off, and you are just vibrating so high, and, you are really stepping into your empowerment and into your authentic voice. You're getting rid of those, what I like to call gremlins, like your fears. And after that, we are going to move into my talk, which is going to be all about, living your dream life, just going for it, not settling, and really making your dreams come true. And, it's going to talk a little bit about coaching and just how do you get there? How do you kind of have this vision and actually see it come into reality? Because, it is a lot of what you put into it yourself, but there is so much of playing with that balance, where knowing that, if you try to do something and make a change in your life, and all you want to do is control it and do the whole thing, and you don't know how to step back and allow the universe to do its work, and allow the universe to create the magic, and kind of, constantly playing with that balance of, how do I actually create my life? How do I manifest and see, my dreams come true? So we are really just going to focus on your dreams, and really teaching you to write your visions and see them come into life, because honestly, that is the thing I'm the most passionate about in the entire world. Because I just think that, once you improve the quality of your life, I always said I want to love all 7 days of the week the same. And I don't want to just live for Saturday and Sunday and dread getting up in the morning. And I don't want you to dread getting up in the morning either. So this is just going to be, a power talk on, let's make your dreams happen. And then we end the day with a bonfire dance party. And there's also another very special surprise to kick that off, which I will not reveal either, because if I give it all away, I don't know, I was going to come up with a metaphor, but I don't have anything.
Gotta keep it surprise. It's going to be all a surprise, I think.
Yeah, gotta leave some surprises. But really the day is going to be about showing up exactly as you are and leaving as your highest self, like throwing everything on the table, showing up to say yes, showing up, saying that you're ready to play bigger, and just learning so much, connecting with the alpacas, connecting with tons and tons of new friends that are like-minded and where you can be linking and supporting one another. But I think it's going to be a day that creates a lot of connections similar to Kate and mine, where, the universe is stepping in and alignment is happening, and those sparks of energy and, synchronicities are happening and taking place, and everybody is waking up and moving more and more into that place, like you talk about, where things just flow, ebb and flow when, you are following that right path. And I think this is going to be a day that is, on that path for you. And just leaving, with this feeling of your life has just changed, and, it's going to stay with you, vibrating for days, weeks, months, and hopefully impacting your life forever. So that's kind of the vision in a
So
nutshell.
amazing. I love it. I mean, and I think what I love most is your energy around it as well, like the vibe you're bringing to the festival. It's so inspiring, and the lineup is incredible. Jamie, I'm curious to hear a little bit about how you're feeling with all this information being thrown at you right now. And if you want to do your video, or like show your video, you did it for a moment. It was so nice in the background. Where you are looks amazing. Yeah, just want to pass it over to you, see what's coming up for you, or if there's any questions you might have.
You have to bear with me. I'm not used to this.
Hi.
And I'm walking in and out of the house, so
Oh, thank you
so
so
I'm
much.
sorry.
No, don't. Thank you so much for playing with us. It's so great. Thank you.
I am just so inspired just hearing you speak, and I'm really excited to be, to be a part of this community of women. I just moved here from Montclair, so I'm new to Asbury Park, this area. And one of the things that I did up there was I took part in a lot of women's circles, and
Cool.
I was looking for the community down here. And Kate, actually, a few of my friends know you, and they told me to reach out to you. That's I think that's maybe how I found out about this. I'm not sure, but I think it's just so important for women to, come together, and, it's, that now's the time. And yeah, it's so inspiring. And, I love listening to you talk. I have some similar experiences that I had. I'm also a yoga teacher. And my, wow moment came when I was training with Shiva Rai. So I understand that feeling of like, oh my gosh, like this is my path. This is what I want to do. And it's not always an easy journey. So yeah.
And what sparked your move? What's brought you to this new area?
My husband likes to surf, so
Awesome.
So closer to the ocean. The house actually that we moved into, we weren't even really looking. It was just an area that we're in, like the Wanamasa area, and it's just an area I've always looked at, and it's somehow it happened, and it happened quick. Yeah, I gave up my job and everything, and I came down here, and I'm, looking for that next thing. And it's definitely, it's there. It's just jumping off the bridge to get there. So that's why it's, for me, it's important to just connect with other women and see, what the community is doing, and embrace that.
Yeah, what an amazing time to have moved.
Yeah.
How long have you been?
When did I move here?
Yeah.
I moved here in March, and I got married in May.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Yeah, I turned 40 in June, so it's like all happening.
Happy birthday, congratulations.
That's so awesome.
So here I am.
I can't wait to meet you.
I'm excited to meet you too.
What an incredible, I mean, yeah, so much has happened in just 6 months for you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
So,
And what are you hoping to get out of the festival, or what's your motivation to attend?
well, one, I'm obsessed with alpacas. So, I mean, there's that. Just to connect with, just to connect with the community. Like, I really am excited to just, meet people and, see what they're doing, and yeah, make some friends down here, and,
Yeah.
be just a part of it.
So fun.
That's awesome. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Christa.
No, I was just going to say, there is going to be a piece that really is dedicated, that's going to kind of, be just like a time set for people to connect with people that they don't know and exchange numbers, maybe set up a date to spend time together after the festival, because such a large part of it really is, let's bond this community together. Let's meet new people and connect with like-minded. So that's really, really in line and amazing that you're showing up already open and ready to meet so many people.
I'm ready.
Yes, that was one of our biggest wishes that we've been talking about over the past few weeks, of just watching how people connect, and then you build friendships, you build support, you might find a new job from another person that you meet at the fest, and endless potential. But you are in the most beautiful position because you've put yourself out there in all this newness this year, right?
Yeah. What do I have to lose at this point? Just keep throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks, right?
It's so awesome.
You got everything to gain.
Totally.
Wow.
Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you for this. I don't even know what I expected. I was like, oh, maybe I'm just going to listen to. I'm like, oh, okay, here I am.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing. That's one of the things I was just telling the ladies before we started, is what I love about web conferences is that it does bring us closer, because I sometimes find I love the webinar systems as well, but that means when you're a participant in the webinar, then you can just be hiding and we don't know really what's happening. So I love that I've met you, and just in a few minutes what you shared with us, I'm like, oh, so cool. And already that connection is formed. So that's one thing I think is really powerful about this, even though you're all in the same state, but I'm in a different country, and I still feel very close to you, all of you. Kate, with Christa was talking about your section. Is there anything you want to share a bit more about what you'll be up to during the festival?
So part of my talk, which I'm really excited to bring to light, is just creating the space for us to tap back into our bodies. And like Christa said, it's not just for women, which we have a nice little group of men that are coming. We're encouraging more and more men to sign up. But so much of our intuition and our creativity and our flow and fluidity all stems from the lower belly, from the sacral chakra. And some of us are aware of how connected we are, and some of us don't even know how to connect from that place. So what I'm doing is it's going to be very integrative. We'll be doing some breath work and talking about different herbs and different self-care tools to really connect back to that area. Because life brings us in, it brings us out of our bodies, but to find those resources that we can then build upon. And very complementary to Christa's talk about living your best life. There was a period of time where I didn't even know what connection meant to my body, and then revisiting that and finding a deeper connection and really trusting in my intuition in general has been life-changing, truly, on every level, and has changed my focus in my career. And I want to just share the tidbits of what I've learned along the way, but to also be a space holder and give other people permission to do the same, because there's so much fear around, okay, how do we connect? And is it shameful? Do we need to feel guilty about turning back into ourselves? But not at all. So it's going to be an adventure. So it will be exciting, and it will be, a great way for both women and men to tap back into that. And what better way during the full moon and the harvest season, and going within after a vibrant season. So we have a lot. I'm going to have to manage my time because there's so much I want to share. it's going to be good.
I think that's always a challenge when there's so much. And, I think going into a festival as well, when I know festivals I've attended, I'm like a sponge. I'm so ready to soak it all up. And usually I usually take a day or two off after attending a festival just to let it go in, because there's such a high energy. And I think that's also one of the intentions behind the event that you're creating, is rising up. And I think people need to be mindful about their energy afterwards. If you need to rest the next day or whatnot, especially there's going to be some dancing too. One thing that Jamie talked about was, how this journey is not always easy. And I'd love to open up about that, around maybe some challenges that you girls are facing in creating the festival, and maybe some that you've overcome already, or maybe just around this topic. I know, there's always these challenges, and that's how we grow. I like having some in my life, but sometimes when you're in it, that's not how you feel. So I'm curious, Christa, if you have anything to say about the challenges around what you're up to.
I would say that, I think the challenges come, and I think this is, around the festival, but around, all areas of my life and throughout my entire life. The challenges come when I doubt myself. I think that, I quickly became an entrepreneur overnight. And, there are days when I can see, everyone's going to love and want to come to the festival. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, no one's going to show up. or, just ways of getting into my own head. I think that I was actually writing about this morning, just from my own personal, working with people and coaching and starting to dive deeper into that I think we all have very similar fears of being unworthy, not good enough. We're never going to succeed. No one understands me, or, all of these similar thoughts that come up. And I had done a coaching training, and they call them gremlins. So, these fears, these gremlins. And I remember you actually one day when I was having a rough day and came to you about kind of my lower self and these fears that were popping up. You had me draw it, and someone got in my car one day and was like, oh, did your little 5-year-old niece draw this? And I was like, oh no, that's my drawing. That's my gremlin right there. And above that sun is my highest self. But yeah, I think that it's doubting myself and my own personal confidence that on some days can kick in. And I know that, that can have to do, did I get enough sleep last night? If I'm not getting enough sleep, or what part of my cycle am I in, just becoming more aware. And I think it's a really powerful, because like the book talks about in Rise Sister Rise, and I'm sure Kate will speak about, being aware of your cycle and the way that your mind can speak to you. It can seem like something very negative, but I've actually been trying to turn around and look at this in a positive way. Now when something pops up in my head and you're never going to succeed, no one's going to show up, or, you're not good enough. I kind of take it as a sign that I'm actually moving forward and in the right direction, and the universe is testing me. So now it's oh yeah, this is awesome. I'm not that sign I'm not good enough is popping in, or I'll never make it. And it's that means I must be doing something right, moving in the right direction. And I kind of try to create this relationship where, it's something silly now. And, that's something that I can have a better relationship with. I would have to say, I think that is the biggest challenge. It is definitely a lot more work than I ever imagined. We started, it was oh yeah, let's put this little event on and we'll have a few people and it'll be this. And then it turned into 24/7 of working on this event. But it is something that is just so amazing to be working on. So it's kind of spending all that time on a passion. So it doesn't feel like work, but there are definitely times where I have to remind myself, put your computer down, get your surfboard and go to the water, and spend a few hours, and don't feel guilty about, getting out there for a few hours and reconnecting. Because I think that when you have project that you're so passionate about, it is easy to get lost and want to work all the time. And so it's just constantly reminding myself, like, get, you know, your movement in 5 times a week or whatever it is, get your meditation in the morning, get out in the water and surf. So reminding myself to always be connecting and doing my spiritual practices, I would say that's honestly been the biggest challenges I faced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that self-responsibility when you're excited about something, but also recognizing you need sleep and, and restoration and a break, and mentally and physically. Maybe you'll see Jamie's husband out on the water since he likes to surf.
Yeah, I was actually Jamie. I was like, "Ooh, maybe for a raffle we could get a surfboard."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I know some people. I might be able to get something for you.
Oh, perfect.
I love it. Kate, how about you on this topic of challenge? You know, maybe whether related to the festival or not, what comes up for you?
I think one of the similarities to what Christa shared, not, you know, having the fears of not having enough people come, but then looking at all of our attendees, of them talking themselves out of coming because they don't have a friend that they want to go with, or they're waiting for someone else. And I think one of our biggest intentions is just giving permission to everyone to come alone, come with a car full, come however you are, showing up in whatever state. And like I said before, you know, it's not always bliss, it's not always radiance, but I guess it's a fear that we've walked through of people talking themselves out of not coming because they're not ready, or they don't feel like they practice yoga enough, they're not familiar with the sound bath, or looking at the dance meditation, or any of the different offerings. But really cultivating that space where show up however you are and embrace it all, because that's really the takeaway of the day, that it's riding the waves, it's being in the ebb and flow of life, and trusting all of it. And I think, you know, it's something that I bring myself back to every day, because it's not always the highest, easiest day. There are days where kind of digging myself out with all the little challenges that come up and the setbacks. And I think the festival will be a beautiful representation of that, of how we have to go with it all, right?
And it, you know, talking about the waves, I think there's a great analogy with surfing. You know, that it's not always easy, but you got to ride the wave. You know, and all of our emotions serve a purpose, but the actions we take, depending on how we feel, is really what matters.
Exactly.
So, and I think that's what you're touching upon is, you know, you might not feel like going because you're like, oh, I should have all this figured out, or already be really flexible and do all sorts of yoga on my own. A lot of people don't, but instead choose to take the action and go, knowing that that's going to serve you.
Right.
And even the day of, you know, the vision is that people will wake up feeling like, yes, I can't wait. But some people might wake up and be like, my kids were up all night and I don't know if I want to go, but to go anyway.
Exactly.
And that you girls are creating a really safe space for that to happen. Because I think that's something and that a lot of us hold ourselves back against, is showing up as we are and allowing ourselves to be held with the energy of the space. Because there's some people that are going to go to the festival and bring a ton of energy, and others are going to need to be lifted. You know, and I think that's the rising up phenomenon that you're creating as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just being surrounded by the beauty of the land, the alpacas, the nourishing food, all the vendors, and, you know, their creative endeavors. And I think for each individual, it's a reminder of all the potential that lies within, right? And just embracing all of it and learning from each other and trusting in the process, leaving with an inspired way of cultivating our own dreams, but then also having the tools and the resources to go back to community. And that's what we keep going back to, you know, collaboration over and over again in every way. So.
And that's one thing I want to acknowledge you, Christa, for. You're so incredible at creating these connections. And from the get-go, you had the instinct of collaborating and bringing the community in and gathering. And I think that's such a beautiful quality of yours. And to see it manifest, you know, with Kate and the others, your vendors and the people that you're attracting to the festival, I think it's a really beautiful thing that it's so natural for you as well. You probably don't even notice it, but I think it's something that A lot of people want to create collaborations and want to create connections, but you just do it, and the reflection is right there. The result is there. I want to take I know it's 8:00, but I want to spend a couple of extra minutes, if that's okay with you girls. One, to talk a little bit about, well, where can people find out about the festival? Where's the best way? And then about you both. So Christa, your this event is also a launch for you as an entrepreneur, in your lifestyle business. I want you to talk a little bit more about what you are offering now and in the future. And same thing for you, Kate. So let's talk about first, where can people find out about the Moon Sister Rising event? I'm gonna link it up with the recording and also here if we need it.
So the event is on Eventbrite. So if you're just on Eventbrite and you type in Moon Sister Rising Festival, it'll pop up. The link is, we have a Facebook page. Event, and then we also have the Instagram and its own Facebook page. So there's two things on Facebook, and they all have the links to Eventbrite. My page is Barefoot Yogi on Facebook, and then Barefoot Yogi 5 on Instagram, and that also has the links for the Eventbrite tickets on there. This week is the last week that you can get your early bird tickets. That ends post August 26th before prices go up to our full moon ticketing. So definitely, I highly recommend get your tickets this week before that ends. And that's really the best place to find it.
Awesome. And I just put the links here, and I will send it all out as well. Now, Christa, your personal website, christarusso.com. Tell people a little bit about what you offer and what you're open for.
Yeah, so my journey really started with yoga and wellness travel. My background I was in the luxury travel industry for about 5 years, and I specialized in wellness and in Africa. So I've brought that piece into my business now. I will be launching a couple of retreats by the time of the festival that I'm really excited to share. And they all offer something for different markets and something really special and unique. And so right now I'm really focusing on life coaching. Just really want to create that magic for other people, that I've experienced in my own life and that I've experienced with you. So I have a few spots open for life coaching, and still doing private yoga as well. And then the event and retreats. And then also, I'm not doing this at the moment, but I am moving more and more into public speaking. I have a vision of speaking at Telluride one time at a snowboarding conference, snowboarding event. That really popped into my head, so that will happen one day.
I love it. I remember asking Christa what she wanted to accomplish between now and the next 3 years before we started working together. I was like, this girl's on fire, because you are so clear. You're like, I'm going to do this, and your TED Talk too, that's going to happen. And you're going to be speaking at this event. So I see it all. I love it. And you're doing it. The path is there. So I'm going to link up your website as well as your Instagram handle. Kate, your website, sunshinekates.com. So Kate with an S.
Yes. So
that's where people can find you.
And I'm actually in Jamie's neighborhood. She shared where she is.
Oh, cool.
So clients can come in, and I do yoni steaming. I teach women about yoni eggs. They can come and use the infrared sauna. I also do retreats, and Chris and I have spoken about collaborating on that greater vision. So I do a lot of live services, and then we can connect online as well.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
And then the Instagram is the same thing. So it's Sunshine Kate.
Okay. Gotta love the Instagram. This has been so much fun to talk to you both. And Kate, it was a first time meeting. And I'm just so excited for what's to come September 22nd and then some and afterwards.
We are too.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Melissa. This was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you,
so
Melissa.
Great.
And Jamie, thanks for being part of it.
Yeah, Jamie, we can't wait to meet you.
You might run into me in town first. I don't
Love
know.
it. We'll be hanging at a high voltage tomorrow morning.
Oh,
Come say hi.
This is so fun. I'm so glad this connection is happening. I want to come down and serve. Jamie, are you
We should. We're getting waves on Wednesday.
I'm gonna come down. My surfboard's been gathering dust. Kate, are you teaching right now, or what's your setup like in Jersey?
So I teach beach yoga a few days a week, and then I do a couple of private sessions a week. I teach one class. We won't be incorporating it at the fest, but it's called Goddess to the Core, and it's yoga and free weights, and it's really about empowering yourself from the inside out. My mentor, Sierra Bender, she taught me that method, and so I do a little bit of movement integration with the intuition and sexual empowerment, and merge it all together.
Sounds amazing. I'm all about sexual empowerment and goddess energy. Yes, we need that. Jamie, do you have any questions?
no questions. Not yet.
And what are you leaving with tonight?
I'm definitely leaving with a sense of I don't know. I'm sure you could understand that feeling of being a little lost sometimes, and like there's people out there. They're there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just connecting with them. So, yeah. I don't know if I answered the question, but that's.
Well, I think connection is what's coming up. I bet it just showing up tonight was probably big for you.
Yeah. My husband's like wants dinner, so he's like keeps looking at me through the window. I'm like, I'm getting there.
We're getting to you. Well, it's so great to have you with us, and I'm back in my hometown after living out west for a while, and moving to a new place is quite the adjustment. Even if it's great and exciting, making new connections it's a bit awkward at first. It's like we don't know how to do it anymore. So it's great to do it and like get that rust off. And just tonight, I think was such a great connection. That was one of our intentions. It was really
especially
nice.
That face-to-face connection is it's important, because I feel we lose that a little bit with technology that we use now. So, so yeah,
Definitely.
Christa, what are you leaving with tonight?
I'm leaving with, I just want to thank, you definitely, Melissa. And then I really want to thank you, Jamie, because I feel like it's just really wonderful to, have this vision that we've been working on for so long. And you are what makes it real. You are what kind of brings that life and that energy and that passion and that community to this vision that has been, such a large part of our lives for the past few months. So I just really, like you said, being able to see your face and hear your thoughts and what you're excited about, or, the reason that you're showing up. I think for me, it's just really powerful, and I'm just really grateful, that you've created that, and to be able to connect with you. So that's really what's been coming up. It's just gratitude for how real this vision is becoming through connecting with you.
That's awesome. How about you, Kate?
I want to mirror both what Jamie and Chris said. This was the first opportunity to actually share it like this in face-to-face way, of not just connecting with the vendors or the participants of the day, and it just makes it so much more real, but it is a reminder of exactly why we're doing what we're doing and what we want to come back, and just seeing this connection and calling more and more of that in, and just a sense of gratitude with it. So Jamie, thank you. And also thank you for holding the space, and just thank you for being the inspiration behind it all.
Yeah, I'm leaving fully inspired and energized, and just so much awe for all of you, and Christa, for you to have let your thoughts come out into the world, into reality, and having had the courage to go there, to have initiated, to have allowed yourself to let your vision come out and to share it. You might be hearing a really loud noise in the background. I apologize. There's something happening outside of my house. Yes, I really want to acknowledge you for that, because you remind me about why I love what I do every day, because it's such a privilege, and to see what you're creating is amazing. And to see these connections just tonight, and to hear you talk about it. We talk about it in our sessions, but to hear you talk about it more freely, more openly in this kind of context, I can only imagine what it's going to be like day of. And Kate, this is so lovely to meet you. Jamie as well. So this was so much fun. I mean, I think it was also just what I like to call kind of like powerful yet casual conversations, and that's what it was tonight. And so I want to thank you all for showing up.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Melissa.
my pleasure.
Thank you.
So with that, ladies, well, Jamie, I'll let you feed your husband.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to go have a bite as well.
I got Tim cooking downstairs. I left half cooked. I was like, sorry, you're going to have to finish this. I got to go.
I love it. So I'll let you all go fill up. Thank you so much, ladies, for sharing so openly and just a wealth of information. I think you sparked some really great topics as well. And yeah, I'm going to be sharing the recording soon. I can't wait.
Thank you so much, Melissa. This has been absolutely wonderful. You are a bright, shining light.
I feel the same way about you.
Thanks.
Thank you, ladies. It was so
welcome.
nice to connect, and can't wait to see you. So
Hopefully tomorrow at High Voltage.
I might be there. You never know. If it's not raining, I'll ride my bike up.
Perfect.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
lady.
Tell your husband we're sorry.
It's all right. He's fine.
Bye.